Hello Stampers. Today I am going to show you another technique. It's called Black Magic, and I did this several years ago. It's kind of cool. It's called Black Magic because you actually have a pop of color on black cardstock, and this is what it looks like when it's finished. I used the Blooms and Wishes stamp set from Stampin' Up. It's in their 2016-17 annual catalog. And I'm only going to show you the technique, but the background I used on this card is the diagonal stripe background stamp from the same catalog, the 2016-17 Stampin' Up catalog. And then I just laid a piece of vellum over top of that to kind of mute it out, the bright Daffodil Delight ink that I used on that diagonal stripe. So let's get started. I'm going to show you how to do the Black Magic technique. We're going to start out with black cardstock, and this is just our basic black Stampin' Up cardstock. I cut this 2.5 by 2.5 square. And what you need for this is a white craft pad. This is our Stampin' Up white craft pad. And like I said, I'm using the Blooms and Wishes stamp set. So I'm just going to take the large flower and stamp that down onto my black cardstock. All right. You want to get that on there. Good. And we're going to add some leaves from that same stamp set, Blooms and Wishes. And we'll just add them here and there. Now, the white craft ink, of course, does not dry instantly like our regular line of ink pads, our classic ink pads. It is a pigment pad, and it is permanent, so it takes a little time to dry. And what you want to do is let this dry for about 5 minutes, or you can use your heat tool and zap it dry in a few seconds. But we're not going to wait for that. I've already have one stamped here that's dry. Now next what you need are watercolor pencils, and I'm using the Stampin' Up! The new watercolor pencils. They coordinate with our Stampin' Up! Colors. And what I'm going to do first is right over top of this after it's dry, you're going to lay down some color. And I'm going to use the Daffodil Delight, and I'm going to lay down this color all over the flower. And you're just coloring right over top of that craft white ink pad. And what I like to do, you can't really tell on the first layer, but I always go in a circular motion so you don't get lines, those pesky lines as much, and it blends better. So you're going to color all that in. And like I said, I'm just laying down a base layer with the Daffodil Delight. I always start with the lightest color and work my way to the darkest color, because you can cover up the light, but you can't normally cover up the dark. Okay, so we basically have that colored in with our Daffodil Delight. And then the leaves, I'm going to use the Old Olive. So I'm just going to draw right over that white craft ink, stem and all, just covering that white. Okay, and then we're going to go back in and we're going to add some more color to give it some dimension and some highlight. So I'm going to use the Pumpkin Pie, and again you want to do some circular motions. I'm going to just go right over top of this yellow. I'm actually going to let some of this yellow come through so it creates a highlight on the flower. And I always start in the darkest part of the flower, which would be towards the middle, because it tends to be darker there because the light doesn't hit it as much. So you're going to lay down the most color down there, and then you're going to gradually soften up the color as you go out, because you know the sun and the light is hitting it in the wider parts of the flower, so you don't want to put as much color down. So the darkest color will go down here. And again, I'm using the circular motion. You can see it blends out a lot better. You don't get those those lines and those streaks. Again, starting at the middle, blending it out in little circular motions. And we're letting some of that yellow come through for a highlight. The whole way around the flower, darker down here, and then getting a little bit lighter, a little less heavy on your pencil, blending it through. And I'll go back and blend some of that out that might not look like it's been blended as well. And then the last color, we're going to use the Melon Mambo. And again, we're starting dark at the towards the middle of the flower because the light doesn't hit it there as much as it does towards the outside of the flower. And I kind of leave the middle a little open because of the middle of the petal up here, because that's where most of the light's gonna hit. So you don't want to cover that too much. You want some of that yellow to still come through. Okay, so you're pressing a little harder. And this is just so cool because you're actually coloring on black cardstock, which normally it wouldn't show up. But once you lay down that white Stampin' Up! Craft pad, then you can color over top of it once the white craft ink is dry. So it gives you a nice palette to do your coloring over top. And then one last petal. Again, bringing that color kind of up, giving it a lighter touch towards the top of the petals. Go back in and blend where you need to. And then just for the leaves, I have a little bit of the Bermuda Bay. And we're just going to put one little highlight on the top edge of the leaf. Or shading, I guess. Okay, to make it stand out. And that's it. That's all you have to do the Black Magic. It works with all the colors. Now on this sample, you can see that I've added the white perfect accent dots. We carry these in the Stampin' Up! Catalog and they come in 3 different sizes. We'll stick a big, I love these. I think they're so cool. They're different than our pearls because they're flat and they give it kind of more of a trendy look. So I stick that right in the middle, and then, you know, you would just, oh, I don't have this one cut to size, but you would just attach that to your Daffodil Delight that's 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and then you have your beautiful Black Magic Blooms and Wishes. Hope you enjoyed that technique. This is technique number 6. It's actually my 6th video, and you can look it up under stamping, easy stamping techniques, or just stamping techniques, or Black Magic. Hope you come back again for the next one. Bye-bye.